Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome to a Facebook login tutorial in Django. Alright, we are going to use an awesome third-party library called Django Auth to enable Facebook login in our application. So let's install that library. It's called Django Auth. I have already installed that, so it's all good. And then I want to add three things to install apps. The first thing I want to do is I want to add Auth itself. And then I want to add Auth account, which takes care of all the authentication as the name implies. And then also I want to add a social account because Facebook is referred as a social account. You can find this stuff in Django Auth documentation as well. I'll also put that link up in the description. And other thing we want to do is we want to add a Facebook provider. Okay, just so you know guys, Django Auth supports more than 30 or 40 different providers. For now, it's a Facebook tutorial, right? Okay, after doing that, what we are going to do is we are going to add our authentication backend. So by default, Django already have a authentication backend built in because when we enable the admin interface, you see all the login and all sort of things already happening there. So we are going to enhance that to include Django Auth authentication backend. We also need to include this Django pre-built-in modal backend because that's what Django admin requires. And the other thing we need is we also need a Django sites. So Django, in order for Django Auth to work, we need to include Django contrib sites, and we also need to tell Django that use the first entry as a default site ID. All right, so after doing that, run the migration. All right, migration is good. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add Django Auth to the URLs. Okay, yep, so we have added accounts to urls.py. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to go to Django admin. I'm going to quickly log in. So after we enable Django Auth, we see a new tab here called social accounts, right? Section, not a tab. Social accounts. So what we need to do is we need to add a social application. So our provider would be Facebook. We'll call it Facebook login or whatever. And client ID. Ooh, we don't have a client ID, do we? All right, so let's get that from Facebook. So client ID and a secret key is something that Facebook requires in order to tell that the request is valid. So we need to create an application on Facebook and then obtain those information, okay? So we'll go to developers.facebook.com and then we will create a new app. Let's call this app Facebook API. You can call it whatever, doesn't really matter. Oh, actually I can't use face. That's all right. Django API. Do this stupid authentication or something like that. All right, cool. So our application has been created. Now let's go to settings because we are looking to obtain our private our client key. Go to settings, go to basic, and then as you can see the application ID here. So I'll copy that, and client ID is application ID. And the other thing we need is a client secret or app secret. I will show that. I need to verify if I'm a legit user. Copy that, paste it in secret key, and then you need to make sure that you need to select the site that is going to use the Facebook login. So Django can have multiple sites. But in our case, we only have one. Actually, I need to change the domain name here after going to sites because our domain right now is localhost. I'll select that anyways and I'll hit save. And the other thing I will do is I'll go to sites and then change the domain name to localhost 8000. If you guys are running from the IP 127.0.0.1, write domain name that instead. Hit save. All right, we are all good to test it. Okay, but to test it, what I'm going to do is I am going to create like a dummy, like a dummy template. For that, I am going to quickly create an application. Let's call it to do. All right, it don't have any views or anything like that, but what it will have is a template directory. It should be templates and then to do, and under that I will name our template file index.html and go to URL and then add that in as a import that in as a template view. All good. All right, so let's go to our index page and see if we see something here. Just making sure my Django development server is up and running. Template does not exist. Oh, I need to add the application that I just created in install apps as well. Let's do that. All right, all good. Now inside that template, what I want to do is I want to import the Django auth special JavaScript stuff. So for that, I am going to load a social account template tag provided by Django auth. Okay, and then I am also going to do load the JS file. Cool, I have created this awesome looking HTML. Just kidding. There's nothing else. There's nothing much. So I have like a button that has a href provider login URL Facebook. This is all provided by Django auth. So we are not developing something else on our own. It's all Django auth magic, guys. All right, so let's see if it works. Cool. What happens is I might actually be already connected, but I'm not. Good. I'll continue, and that's it. All good. So it looks like I'm authenticated. So after authentication, Django redirects to accounts profile by default. Let me just change that to index page for now. Okay. Login, redirect, URL, index page for now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to print out the user just to make sure. Yeah, here we go. So we have been authenticated. This is my Facebook username, guys. And if I try to go to admin, it won't let me in. You are authenticated as bot, but obviously I'm not an admin. Just so you know, Facebook has there are two different ways you can do the Facebook authentication. There is this JavaScript SDK which we just used, as it gave a login screen as a pop-up, which is, I think, in my opinion, it's a really good user experience. But we can also authenticate in OAuth 2 format, which will load a new page like this. Since I'm already authenticated, it just authenticated me. But yeah, it will load up a new page and then redirect back to the login redirect URL. Okay, simple, guys. That's it. All right. Let me know if you have any questions or anything like that. Good luck and see you later.